Hello over there. Hello over here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Comic Shop Talk Live, brought to you by Black Cat Comics in Rockin' Milpitas, your one-stop shop for all things superhero. Shop online at black-cat-comics.com. We're keeping you connected to the comic book community. I'm Mark.
I'm Francie.
And we've got another fun show for you. Going to talk some this week's comics. Going to talk a little bit of everything going on in the world of comics. It's an interactive program. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're reading, what you're looking forward to reading, what's at the top of your stack this week, what's your favorite thing going on in the world of comics. And we always like to start the show with a little Comic Shop News. Comic Shop News. So I guess the big news in comics is Predator. Predator is the big news. As everybody knows, Disney acquired the 20th Century Fox items such as Alien and Predator, my personal favorite, Planet of the Apes, and many, many other cool, fun, and exciting things. And Marvel proceeded to integrate those properties into their comics. But wait! Suddenly, the original scriptwriter from Predator is now suing Disney for the ownership because they are claiming that they have legal right and ownership to Predator. In their original contract, there was a timestamp stipulation that at the end of 35 years, the rights lapse back to the original content writer. And which is a couple of guys called the Thomas Brothers. That 35 years was up this month, April 1st. And so now it's this whole big thing. And in classic comic book guy way, I saw Marvel had all their Predator covers. That was going to be their variant theme last month or whatever it was. And then suddenly there was this whole slew of cancellations. And I was like, Anytime that happens, it usually means somebody's suing somebody over the rights to something.
Got busted.
And 2 minutes later, that's what it was. So that's the big news. Everything Predator is now on hold. Everything on Predator is frozen until all of this gets hashed out. So
that's crazy.
That's the big comic shop news.
You think somebody would have read the fine print when they bought that from Fox?
Well, I imagine there's a lot of fine print for each and every sort of, I mean, there's infinite kind of licenses, infinite kind of things that they acquired. Yeah, but that's what
Disney does. License.
Sure. Well, here's my theory of knowing nothing about anything. Number one, the person will lose. No one wins lawsuits against Disney. No one. No one has. No one will. You don't win when you sue Disney. That's just sort of an established thing. They have Predator lawyers. No pun intended, I guess. Disney sends people to Comic-Con with cease and desist letters. Disney is aggressive about maintaining what they have. And so I find it almost impossible to consider that this person will win. Persons, I should say. Second,
it's crazy.
If they are going to, if it starts to look bad for them, Disney will just buy them out. Let's be honest. If you can buy 20th Century Fox, you can buy a couple of brothers who wrote a script back in 1987. That's
touche.
So I appreciate that these guys are making a huge stink out of it. I appreciate that they're taking on the mouse, because taking on the mouse is something. But let's all be honest. We all know how it's going to pan out at the end.
That's crazy.
But that's
crazy stuff.
Like I say, as far as I know, that's the big news this week. That's what's going on in the world. And as every week, I now want to go into my Disney Plus Falcon and Winter Soldier rant. But I will spoil too many things by saying anything because we're too late in the series now. For great.
Yeah. Daniel says, I'm all in for creator rights, but I just want a Punisher versus Predator comic. Who doesn't?
Totally agree with you, Daniel. Kudos to, I'll back up with my snarky comment just a bit. I am all for creator rights as well. Yeah. And those guys were super smart to put something like that in their contract.
Genius.
And because, they foresaw how these things roll out. Something super hugely popular. And then time passes. and they wanted to get that back when the time passed. And like I say, I think that's really smart. Heads up to all of you creative types out there, put it in the contract. I listen for all my life. I've listened to comic people cry about what they didn't get paid for. 90% of the time, they're right, but 100% of the time, the point is they didn't put it in the contract. So put it in the contract so that one day you too can sue Disney. And yes, I'm totally with you, Daniel. I want to see. I like Predator, but as far as Marvel goes, I'm a little more interested in the incorporation of Alien. I want to see Alien in the Brood, Alien in the Kree.
You get what you negotiate. That's right.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Big Remo. And you know, it's a tale as old as time. Here in comics, we call it getting the finger. Because of Bill Finger was sort of the first person to be royally screwed by comics. And then the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Owner of Shazam and on and on and on and on and on it goes. So
Neil Gaiman, Todd
McFarlane, right up to this very day. So like I say, put it in the contract. And, you know, again, a little less snarkily. Let's get it all worked out so we can get our Predator comics. Because Daniel wants his Predator Punisher.
What would be another good mashup?
Oh, I'm just like
Hulk. Hulk
like
Predator.
Planet Hulk. Do a sequel to Planet Hulk where they drop him on the Predator world. That would be cool. I don't know. There's lots of good things. Alien,
Fantastic Four.
FF is anything outer space, so that's awesome. And all those good things. So,
what if Star Wars met up with Predator?
Alien versus Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nice.
That's a good one.
That's good.
That
could
is the biggest, hottest, not rumor. What would you say, myth? The thing everybody wants to see that Disney and or at least Kevin Feige, however you say his name, has categorically denied, or he has assured us we will never see a Marvel Star Wars crossover. And I don't believe that to be true. I believe he believes that.
Well, he's at the helm, maybe not. But there's always a new dawn, a new day, a new guy.
You know, years and years from now, people are so cool with mashups and comfortable with, as for example, DC is going to give us like 19 different Batman things. And it's going to be, you know, Batman, this Earth Batman, and then this Batman and that Batman. And they're trusting that the fans can differentiate that there can be different Batman universes
at the same time.
And I would pitch that same thing, especially they're doing What If for Disney Plus in an animated thing. And What If opens up the masses to the idea of alternate realities and different, you know, merged universes and blah, blah, blah. So if you can translate that to movies, then you can do a Marvel Star Wars movie and tell everybody in the beginning, look, this isn't the thing forever from now on. It's just this one little thing we're doing because we want to see Han Solo in the Marvel Universe.
Symbiotes versus Predator, yes. Batman versus Predator again, yes. They already did that.
Predator 3
did it twice, yeah.
That would be
the
cool.
third.
I would like symbiotes versus predators. That would be cool. And Wolverine versus anything.
Yeah.
They already did Wolverine, Alien. That's what the Brood is all about. That's what would make Alien Brood so cool, because Brood is such an alien knockoff that it's basically Alien versus Alien.
He's Thor.
Awesome. Thor's, all those things. You had me at Fantastic Four. You can mash up Fantastic Four with anything.
Any other news this week?
Not especially. I guess here in Black Cat Comics world, we've got a couple of things. Black Cat Chronicles #1, The Greyfriars Cemetery, is out, is available, is taking comics by storm. We're selling tons of copies. We're getting great reviews. Everybody loves the book.
Yes, thank you for all of you guys that support us for that. Thank you.
If you don't have your copy yet, you're missing out. Go to black-cat-comics.com, pick up a copy. Go to black-cat-publishing.com and pick up a copy, yes, while we've still got one. The news to that, aside from it being out and awesome, is we might just be start to shop it around, trying to get picked up by bigger publishers. So, grab that first printing before it goes somewhere else. So Black Cat Chronicles is moving and shaking. We're going to be starting on our second issue, and that's going to be fun.
Alaska's Port Chatham.
Yes. And I guess
mysteries abound.
Endless. Truth is scarier than fiction.
Yes.
Lots of true horror tales to be told.
Yes.
And the last bit of comic shop news is our grand reopening that we've been talking about. We don't have a specific date yet. Maybe Wednesday the 12th, maybe Wednesday the 19th.
Wednesday, May 13th.
I think the 12th is Wednesday.
Let's look it up.
Alien Guardians of the Galaxy.
May 12th, you're right. Wednesday, May 12th.
Yeah, so we're shooting, I guess, for May 12th. We'll be doing in-store appointments, much like the curbside, much like the video. So keep an eye out on the website for the big thing that says in-store appointments and book yours. And if you want to keep on doing the curbside, if you just want to swing by, grab your bag, you can still do that. If you're out in New Jersey and you want to hang out with Cause, you can still do that too. We're expanding the virtual appointments, which is fun. We're keeping all the curbside, and we're doing in-store appointment one-on-one. So you have my full attention and full access
all to
yourself.
Everything. Look at this. All to yourself.
You may regret
Ladies
it.
and gents.
So yeah, that's comic shop news.
Well, and for Comic Day, we should just keep mentioning that it's in August now, since we're coming up on May. Traditionally, it's the first Saturday in May. That ain't happening. So they moved it this year to sometime in August.
Yes, should be the first Saturday of August. Yep. Come on by and hang out, Big Remo. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing all my cats and kittens again.
Woohoo! It's gonna be fun.
And yeah, Free Comic Book Day. Go to freecomicbookday.com and check out the books. I'm pretty sure all the announcements have been made. All the books have been named. Though I don't know about the DC book because they're not in the Diamond thing anymore. But go to freecomicbookday.com, check out all the books that will be available. Free Comic Book Day is always a ton of fun.
We don't know what we're doing yet. We're kind of waiting on all the COVID restrictions to be eliminated. Hopefully that'll happen by August. If it's still, small gatherings or not a lot of gatherings, we might need to stagger it. We don't know. We don't know yet.
My plan at the moment is probably the same like we did last year. We had a whole thing for booking appointments to come get your pack, and that's probably what we'll do.
Yeah, it has been a year. We have been doing this for a year.
Yes.
Oh my
yes,
God.
We've been making it up as we go along for almost
Thus,
60 weeks now.
All the extra grays.
Thus all the extra bald. Ooh, I'm not wearing the hat. I'm just shining at everybody today. Good times. Okay, so that's comic shop news. We're going to be reopening. We're going to have Free Comic Book Day. The toy show is coming back someday. Hang in there, people. We're almost there. The light is at the end of the tunnel. We're getting there. The world is coming back. The world of comics is coming back. And in a lot of ways, the world of comics has never left, which brings us to our stack of this week's comics. Again, as some of you are already interacting, it's an interactive program. We're going to be talking about our favorite books of the week.
Yes.
We want to hear about your favorite books of the week.
Yes.
Start us off.
Well, it's always a great day when there's a new Sandman book. And so this week, Lock and Key, the universe merges with the Sandman universe. And it's awesome and it's beautiful and it has the same no, I can't show that.
Maybe you want to go earlier in the book.
I can't really show that either. But it's got the same art and feel of the traditional Sandman books. So if you love the Charles Vess stuff, if you love the Sam Keith stuff, you will not be disappointed. I can show. No, I can't show that either. I'm sorry, I can't show you anything.
You'll just have to get it and see for yourself.
I mean, they're all spoilers, or they're all just a little too bloody and gory to share.
For an all ages format.
Yes.
But it is a great day anytime you get new Sandman. Can't disagree with that.
Yes.
What is the Zero issue exactly?
The Zero issue is basically like those of us that are Sandman people who it's been a while that we've read Lock and Key or we've never read Lock and Key. It's an introduction to what is Lock and Key, by the way, so that when you get issue number 1, you're not like, what the heck is going on? So issue 0 basically takes you through this family with the last name Locke who have these sets of magical keys that when you open certain doors, certain cool things happen. And so that is just like a who's who or like a, one of those catalogs that you would get from Marvel, like who's Hawkeye?
The official handbook of the Marvel Universe?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So it's a good, fun read. It's not really a story. It's more of just like a get caught up before this baby comes out. So it's worth a read if you've never done Lock and Key before.
That looks pretty giant sized.
It is pretty good. Yeah. So the story is pretty long, but then there's like a bunch of backup ads. So because IDW is smart, right? So they're doing this with DC. They each get like 4 ads pages for each publisher at the end. So really, it's a regular size. I can't show you that. It's the regular size comic, but then you've got like a bunch of ads and stuff on the back. So it's a little chunky. I'd say, the story might be an extra couple of pages. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 pages of ads, so it makes it feel a little thicker than you would think.
Publishers, company mashups is a great idea. We love those team ups. I've been talking about the mashups for a long time. Green Lantern, Planet of the Apes, and some of the great things that they've done. But even like speaking to the publishers from a business standpoint, it's really smart. Introduce the other publishers' readers to your material. It's really smart for IDW to do things with DC. IDW does things with Marvel for their all ages line, and that's really smart. Because they bring in a couple of bucks doing a Spider-Man book, and they bring in a couple of Spider-Man readers to some of their other stuff. So,
and just to be clear too, Neil Gaiman is not a part of this, other than maybe creative input. But Joe Hill, the great horror writer and descendant and one of the greatest horror writers of all time, Stephen King. Joe Hill's writing this, and it's expertly drawn by Gabriel Rodriguez.
There you go.
There you go.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Great. I really liked it. It was really good.
I have a lot of Spider-Man to talk about.
Spidey.
This is Nonstop Spider-Man number 2. Spider-Man, so awesome. Okay, like we're saying about mashups, like we're saying about Predator, like we're saying about a lot of things, you can put Spider-Man in anything. Going back to the classic Marvel team-up from back in the day, the genius of Marvel team-up is that Spider-Man can be anywhere. He can be in the ancient Egypt. He can be on Mars. He can be anywhere, and somehow it works. And you can team him up with anybody. You can team him up with Mephisto. You can team him up with Wolverine. You can team him up with anybody, and it works. And it also works in different scenarios. He's just kind of an all-purpose character. So, Nonstop Spider-Man, as I've been saying, it's all right there in the title. It's just fast and frenetic and action-packed. It's not subplots and backstories. It's not slow build of a long-term plot. It's just bad guys and action and explosions and super fun. Joe Kelly is an all-time great comic writer. He's one of those guys that knows comics, writes the character, not the story. He writes the character in that story. And you all know Chris Batulo, another name that I don't ever think I'm saying right.
This book.
It is very colorful. Batulo has a rather stylized kind of art that I'm not always a big fan of, but he's got a big fan base, and like I say, a little like Joe Kelly, he's a comic book artist. He draws action, he draws big monster trucks, he draws cool comic book stuff in that sort of Todd McFarlane vein of everything's kind of over the top, and big is really big, and small is really small, and I don't know, it's just fun. And this book was a lot of fun. I read number 1 just for the heck of it, because it's the first issue, and that's what you do. And it kind of sucked me in.
There's a lot of writing in there.
And yes, for a book called Nonstop, there's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of story in this. But you don't have to know anything or anybody to just jump into it.
What age group would you say is good for that?
It's T, not T plus. So it's,
12, 13.
So yeah, it's a tween book. It's not all ages, but it's not at all, it's more explosions than violent. There's certainly none of the things that you see in mature reader books. A lot of kids in this book, in fact.
Good stuff.
But I wanted to show Nonstop Spider-Man, and to go along with Spider-Man Spider's Shadow, which is really, really awesome. As I mentioned, What If again. What If is back. They're doing a animated series on Marvel Plus or on Disney Plus called What If. If you're an old schooler like me, you know what ifs are. If you're a medium schooler, you know what ifs are, because Marvel busts out a what if run about every 10 years, and they're always a ton of fun. Always fun to see what would have happened if something had changed in that classic story wrote. So in this guy, in Spider-Man Spider Shadow, the what if is, what if Peter Parker was Venom? What if he never took the suit off and it did to him what it did to Eddie Brock and whatever? Peter's life was saved because Reed Richards got the symbiote off of him. But what if Peter didn't want the symbiote off of him? And what happens when our favorite hero becomes Venom? This takes you a little bit like Symbiote Spider-Man by Peter David, takes you right back to the Hobgoblin era of the 80s, nice. Takes you right back to the original symbiote time, but gives you new fun stories. And like I say, I wanted to mention both of these because I always talk about Batman when on those weeks when we get Batman and Batman Beyond and Batman White Knight, and you get this whole range of other dimensional Batmans and other continuity Batmans. And that's always fun. And Spider-Man is definitely the Marvel version of that. You can do this with Spider-Man. You can do that with Spider-Man. You can go back in the past. You can just tell action-packed stories. Spider-Man's just tons of fun. And I like when they do sort of out-of-the-box things like this. And like I say, huge fan of What If. I'll make the same pitch that I made in the Wednesday video. We've got all the original What If trade paperbacks on the website. Do yourself a favor. If you pick up the first one, you'll want all 4 of them. It's a really, really fun run of stuff. So,
and DC's equivalent is Elseworlds.
That's true. But Elseworlds was never a monthly thing. It was just a different sort of series, different mini-series that they put under that label.
Okay.
What If is kind of a monthly, at least used to be.
Okay.
So anyway, fun stuff. Pick up some Spider-Man if you haven't read Spider-Man for a while. A couple of non-committal books there.
Speaking of Batman, so Tom Taylor, the guy who wrote all the Deceased stories, all of the Hellblazer Rise and Fall, which is really good in the prestige format, is now taking on a Batman title, Batman the Detective. It is a 6-issue mini, so you don't have to invest for very long. It's just going to be 6 issues. And it's drawn expertly by Mr. Andy Kubert. Great art. The only thing that my little, because I have to have a tidbit of little issue, because that's just me. He looks more like Bane than he does Batman. He's huge, and he's got this like weird crew cut. Like there. He's, Bruce is handsome, and this guy not so much. But it takes place in the future. He's kind of alone, but there's a great cameo of an old villain in this book that if you are old school like me, you will love and appreciate. So that was a good, fun read, this first issue of Batman the Detective by Tom Taylor and Andy Kubert.
I love me any Kubert ever.
You
Andy
really like that.
Is solid.
Yeah.
Andy is really solid. Being the Marvel guy, I'm a little more partial to Adam, but that's not about art. That's just about the books that each of them chooses to do. And of course, like I say, any Kubert, all Kuberts. That's good stuff. I also like the emphasis on the detective part. It's one thing I've liked about detective comics in recent years. When I was a kid 100 years ago, Batman was the superhero book and Detective was the detective book. You would see Batman solving crimes, working with the police and solving crimes. But as time went on, I don't know, the world's greatest detective wasn't really ever shown detectiving. And so it's a bit refreshing to see a book about him, solving mysteries, because that's what he's supposed to be doing.
Oh, like the Scooby-Doo mysteries this week. Is it in your stack?
Yes.
Oh,
let's cut right to that. I always usually save the all ages stuff, but again, like I was saying about Spider-Man, like I was saying earlier when they do Batman Beyond and all the different things with Batman. Come on, teaming up with Scooby-Doo?
Come on.
Solving mysteries with Scooby-Doo? Your favorite, okay, your favorite episode is the Sonny and Cher one, but your second favorite episode was Kiss on Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
I don't remember Kiss on Scooby-Doo. Well, anyway,
No?
like I say, your first favorite episode is probably Sonny and Cher, even though you've never heard of Sonny and Cher. But your second favorite episode is the Batman one. I like to talk about it because when Shaggy and Robin are talking, it's all Casey Kasem, baby. Casey Kasem does 3 of the voices. So when you have Robin, Shaggy, and Scooby on screen, that's all just one. The brilliance of Casey Kasem.
Addams Family episode.
Oh, yeah, the Addams
nice.
Family is another good one. Anywho, Scooby-Doo and Batman. I mean, come on. It's all like Nonstop Spider-Man. It's all right there in the title.
Question.
Yes.
So are they not doing the Scooby-Doo team-up anymore? Because team-ups,
No.
that was Batman came in a lot on those.
Yeah, I loved Scooby-Doo team-up, and I think this has replaced Scooby-Doo team-up. They're still doing Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The classic Scooby-Doo that's, boy, 100 and something issues in. But now we're getting a new Batman and Scooby-Doo teaming up every single week.
Let's see some art.
Solving mysteries. It's got some great animated style art. There's Batman in his Golden Age Batman suit. I love Golden Age Batman because I love the purple gloves. Why the purple gloves? Who knows? But they're awesome. And in fact, the purple gloves is kind of a theme of this issue. So anyway, as I always say about all ages stuff, a lot of publishers all the publishers, except for Avatar, do a great job with all ages books. Everybody should have an all ages book on their list. Something a little lighter, a little less apocalyptic than everything else you're reading. And you can't ever go wrong with Batman and Scooby-Doo.
I think Aftershock's getting into all ages, or at least teen stuff too.
Yeah, Alfred.
So good.
They should be. Every publisher should have, if not an all ages, at least have a younger readers kind of book, because you got to bring those readers into your other material.
All right, so moving away from all ages, 100%.
Very far away.
180 degrees, Rorschach. So who's been watching this? Who's been reading this? Tom King, Rorschach, anybody? Bueller, anybody? So we're right in the middle of the 12-issue arc. We're at issue 7 this week. And I am starting to get really confused. Is anybody else with me? I feel like I need to go back and read from the beginning again because it's so thick. There's so many layers. There's so much going on that I'm having a hard time keeping it all straight. Like, I feel like I need to take notes. Not in any kind of effortless way, but in I'm really excited about it. I don't want to miss anything kind of way. There is speaking of cameos, there is a phenomenal cameo of a famous Batman writer artist that appears in this issue. And I have no idea what he's doing in this issue. I just love seeing him. It's an art depiction of this guy. He's a real, true, alive guy showing up in this fictional story. And I'm totally lost and I'm totally loving it. But you have to pick it up because it's mind-blowingly awesome. And the art is just incredible. Look, I can't show you that. I can't show you that. I can show you this. Isn't that fun? You want to just dive right in and check that out?
I'm a big fan of Totally Lost and totally loving it.
Well, it's layered, and I'm giving Tom King a lot of leeway here because I love Tom King. But I'm like, wait, what? I read this last night. I'm like, wait a minute, I missed something. Did I read issue 6? So I got to go back and look at some of the stuff again. But it's good.
I think he likes to get.
That's a ringing endorsement. I have no idea what's going on, but it's good. Read it.
He likes to get into the head of the character. He likes to put the reader in the head of the character. And so maybe in a book like Rorschach, you're supposed to be a little confused.
Well, it's not from the perspective.
Confused.
It's not told from the perspective of Rorschach. It's told from the detective guy that's trying to figure out what the heck's going on. But as he's trying to figure out what's going on, we're all trying to figure out what the heck's going on. So it's good.
Want to know what you're reading? What's at the top of your stack? Did you pick up your books this week? What did you like last week? Let us know. I'm going to move on to one of my all-time favorites, Fantastic Four. This year, King in Black issue, FF number 30.
A great cover. Is that Alex Ross again?
No, but that is a really great cover.
That's a great cover.
Boy, let me give you 3 great reasons to start reading Fantastic Four if you're not already reading Fantastic Four. Number 1, story and art. Right now, FF is as good as it's been in many, 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 many years. It's been a great book for a long time. Marvel keeps its top talent on this book. So as a general pitch, Fantastic Four is a really fun book with great stories and great art. If you haven't checked it out, or if you haven't checked it out in a while, pick up the most recent issue, dive right in. Second reason, this is your King in Black issue. King in Black's been a lot of fun. If you like the Venom stuff, you've been reading something else, King in Black, pick up this one just because it's a King in Black issue, and it will show you why Fantastic Four is awesome and what makes it cool.
What's been your favorite Fantastic Four run?
Well, the John Byrne run, obviously. That's my favorite run of anything ever.
I thought you were going to say Mark Waid.
That's part of where I say they've had their top talent on this book for years. Mark Waid, J. Michael Straczynski, not Brubaker, but the other one. Anyway, they've had their top writers on this book for a long time. And yes, I did love the Mark Waid run because the Thing died and went to heaven. And when he got there, he met Jack Kirby, and that was just. Speaking of creators in comics, that was a mind-blowing thing.
Bust out the tissues. So wait a minute. We're 31 minutes in. It took you that long to mention John.
It took me that long to say John Byrne. Yes, the John Byrne run of Fantastic Four is all-time great for 1,000 reasons. We don't have time for that right now. So the second reason to pick up this book is because it's King in Black. Again, check it out. You'll read it. It'll be awesome. And you'll be like, I'm going to keep reading Fantastic Four. Third reason, you need to pick up this issue just to get your feet wet, because the next issue begins the wedding of Dr. Doom. Come on, the wedding of Dr. Doom? Who would marry Dr. Doom? You're going to find out in the very next issue. The second greatest villain in all of comics. Yes, Daredevil. Second greatest villain in comics is Dr. Doom. He's sort of the 5th member of the Fantastic Four. So if you're not reading it, you're going to need to be reading the one after this one. So you might as well just dive into the King in Black and see why I'm always talking about FF. Seeing the Thing as Venom in that book is priceless.
What else you got?
Okay, staying in Marvel. No, all my books aren't Marvel this week, but just one more to pitch is Iron Man. Daniel's talking about Daredevil. Daredevil's a book I talk about all the time. Has been great for years and years. Iron Man, a little like Amazing Spider-Man, a little like Thor, the current run of Thor. Some books I'm just loving right now because it's kind of a back to basics, pure, what you've always loved about superheroes, what you've always loved about Iron Man, with a cool Alex Ross cover. That's Moondragon being reflected in his helmet there.
Oh, cool.
You might not know who Moondragon is because we don't see her in comics very much. She's a glaring omission from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. It's almost rude that she's not in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Well, tell us, Cause. Who is she?
Moondragon is the daughter of Drax the Destroyer. Moondragon is the second greatest telepath in comics. Moondragon is a super classic Avengers villain / ally. She is a longtime member of the Defenders, which is how she knows Patsy Walker. Patsy Walker has been, the Hellcat has been important in this book. So now they busted out Moondragon, which is part of what makes this whole thing awesome. Michael Korvac is in this book, the villain Michael Korvac. If you're old school like me, you remember the Korvac saga. In comics, what am I trying to say to wrap it all up? In comics, they tell a great story. Somebody tells a great story with a great villain. And then, that creator goes on to some other book and a new creator takes over that book and you'll never hear from that great villain again. And so some writer comes along and is like, what's Michael Korvac been doing since the Korvac saga in the 70s? I don't know. Let's find out. So anyway, Iron Man, this comic, has been busting out classic villains with new plans, has been busting out classic side characters with new motivations. It's the characters you know and love in new, fun, and exciting stories. That's what has always made comics great. They don't reinvent the whole darn thing every single issue. It's just heroes and villains and action and adventure. And they're just nailing it. If you're reading Thor right now, and most Marvel fans are reading Thor right now because it's like their most popular book, you know what I'm talking about. That's not brand new villains you've never heard of. It's not anything you've never heard of, but it's that comfortable thing you know in a new, fun, exciting, awesome story. And they're doing the same thing with Iron Man. It's what's making Amazing Spider-Man great right now. It's what's making a lot of Marvel books great right now. So if you've never read Iron Man, pick up, this is issue 8. You can just jump in on this one, but pick up the first one. I think we've got all 8 online now. Grab the first issue. You'll get that back to basics vibe. You'll love it, and you'll keep reading. Let me show you a little. Well, since I already said Moondragon, since she's on the cover, it doesn't spoil it for you.
Spoiler if they're on the cover.
That's a cool shot. So anyway, Iron Man's a really, really fun book. Pick up Iron Man. Pick up Thor. A couple of great Marvel books going right now.
And Farhan, you're asking about Top Golf coming to Elviso. I have no idea what that is. We're not golfers. I don't know if that's a literal golf course coming around the corner or not, but I have no clue. Do you? Can we talk about?
I have no idea what Top Golf is. No. I know what Frisbee Golf is.
Maybe Daniel knows.
Coming to Elviso. Daredevil 29 is top of the list. Elektra as Daredevil gets better with every issue. Totally agree with that.
Top of the stack. Daredevil.
And Daniel, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Elektra isn't anything of a new character. Elektra isn't new to Daredevil. But bring the character back, get their relationship in a new dynamic, and off it goes to a whole world of new stories. That's just fun.
Hi, TJM. Hello. What else you got? I don't really have that much else to talk about this week, so it's all you. Oh, wait. I lied.
There you go.
One more. Young Hellboy. Fun. Again, not Planet of the Apes. Jurassic Park kind of stuff. Young Hellboy. It's good for all ages, so if you've got a little one who likes, some of the darker stuff, but isn't, easily scared or anything, this is a fun book. I just love Young Hellboy. I love all things Hellboy, but
I love all things Mike Mignola. And that's a great example of, Hellboy isn't a mature reader book, but it's certainly not all ages by any stretch of the imagination.
It's mature.
Well, yeah, but there's not like overt sexuality or it's just kind of creepy. But anyway, my point is it's fun to do an all ages book in that universe. Stretch out, broaden a little bit.
How fun is that? You want to know what's going on? Who is that chick? What's going on? Yeah, it's good stuff.
I guess the last couple things I have that will, again, come as no surprise, like Fantastic Four, is the super books. Got a couple super books to show you. I'll pitch this one really fast. This is Superman 29. I'm only showing this one to the people who dropped Superman in action when Bendis left. Don't do that. Always give the new creative team 1 or 2 issues. Even if you've never heard of them, whatever reason, if you're reading the book anyway, keep going for a couple more issues and see what the new guys do. If you don't like it, hey, no big deal. It's very different, but it's kind of capturing, they're putting a lot more emphasis on John and kind of turning him into Superman.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Do you think DC is moving more towards younger readership with their art styles?
Yes. I think DC is trying to transfer their success of their YA books to their comics. So I think they're doing what works. That's cool. Well, they're doing what works in their YA books in their comics. And, I can't argue with that. Let's face it. Comics have been skewing too old for a little while. Mainstream comics have been skewing too old for a little while, in my opinion. Books like Superman, books too mature, let's say. And I don't mean old, I mean too mature.
I like it.
Books like Superman, books like Amazing Spider-Man should be accessible to 12 to 16-year-olds, and it's maybe moved a little away from that.
That ship has sailed. That age group does not read comics, period. What's up, Arnell?
But that needs to come back.
TJ, TJM. Noctera's good. Image Comics. I just read issue 1 and 2 for a new comics. Good, great. I'm glad you like that. Yeah, Scott Snyder is writing that, so the wonderful and talented Scott Snyder. Glad you like that. Jeff Johns also had a Geiger #1 that came out 2 weeks ago. That if you like Noctera, you might check that one out too if you haven't already.
Yep, Noctera is a new Image book, like you said. Geiger is the new one. Shadecraft is the other hot new Image book that's rolling out.
Spicy.
Much like Noctera, another thing I always say all the time: grab those Image first issues.
Yeah.
Much like the next issue of a new creative team, check it out, try it out. If you don't like it, it's $4. Give it to a friend. Chances are it will be cool and it will be different from other things that you're reading.
That 2 Moons, from Image, that's like my new favorite.
Yes,
book. I cannot wait for that new one to come out.
Yep, he's got Geiger. Okay. He knows what you're talking about. Nice. Yes, 2 Moons was great.
So good.
I like to say, Image is just, they have great stuff, doing the kind of things you don't see everywhere. In fact, I probably could have had an Image out here. And my last one is Challenge of the Super Sons. Much like I said, they're putting a lot of emphasis on John in the main book. And I love Bendis, but he got a little bit of flack at the end of his run for aging John and breaking up the dynamic of the Super Sons. So I was really happy to see them put out a new Super Sons series. Yeah, John is all grown up now, but a story can take place before that time, and here's that story.
Nice.
If you read the other Super Sons stuff, it was a ton of fun. It's just as much fun as Superman, Batman. They do a great job of emphasizing their personalities, emphasizing the contrast of their personalities. This book made me laugh out loud in a couple of points. I haven't laughed out loud in a comic in a long time. And so it's just a ton of fun. Again, if you read the earlier series, you're going to love this one just as much. If you don't know the earlier series, pick this up and it will make you want to grab those other trades. How old is he now? Specifically, I don't know, but here he is in his Superboy outfit. And here he is. Let's see.
Like 14, 15 maybe?
So, yeah, he's probably like 15.
7th, 8th grade.
However old he looks there. So, like I say, he looks maybe, I don't know, 13, 12, 13. And now he's, I don't know, 15, 16, 17, 18 maybe. I don't know. But older. Basically, in the last run, he goes into the future. And when he comes back, he's many years older. And like I say, the fans kind of bummed out because we loved the new dynamic duo. But now here they are, like I say, in a tales from the not so distant past. And it was a real ton of fun to read. Love me some Damian. So good time for the super books.
Arnell, if you haven't already, DC's Deceased Dead Planet has the 2 of them a little older, and so the older Damian and older John is really cool to check out.
Yeah, I'm always curious with Damian in the future. Does he end up more like Bruce, or does he end up more like Talia? That's I guess the crux of the whole character, right? So good times.
Good times.
You can go to black-cat-comics.com, click on shop, click on new this week, and take a look at all the books we're talking about.
One of these days you're going to smack me in the face.
Plus so many more. Maybe. And it'll be on camera. It'll be horrible.
I will sue.
Domestic violence on film.
Awful.
So, yeah, like I say, trying to think of, I don't know what the big Image book was now that you mentioned it.
We sold out of it. Picture of everything else. I don't think. I can't remember. Yeah.
But yeah, good times. A lot of good stuff this week.
So Causey's Classics coming up?
Oh, yes. So a week from Friday, the last Friday of every month is Causey's Classics. Got a great show for you this month. Fans of the vintage books, tune in the last Friday. I think it's a week from this Friday.
April 30th.
April 30th.
6 o'clock.
6 p.m. Facebook, YouTube. We're going to talk some vintage comics. Going to talk first issues because everybody loves first issues. And like I say, if you're a fan of the vintage books, tune in. If you don't know much about vintage books, tune in because that's really what it is. Sure, we sell some comics, but it's mostly just a conversation about classics from back in the day. And like I say, first issues, everybody loves first issues. Everything that's great about comics happens in first issues. And I got a really nice stack of some great books that you're going to want to check out. So don't miss out on that. And you can always check out the classics on the website for anything that we don't feature in the show.
Right.
So that about wraps us up for this week. Like we say, you can go to black-cat-comics.com, click on shop, click on new this week. Take a look at all the books, pick up your books, pick them up curbside or get them shipped out to you. You read them, you check them out, you tune in on Saturdays, and we talk all about them here on Comic Shop Talk Live. Vince is going through yes. Farhan saying that vintage comics are going through the roof, according to Chuck at Mile High. Well, no one sells old comics quite like Chuck at Mile High. Yes, the vintage comic market has exploded in the last year as people are stuck at home and they're left to explore their interests. As Disney Plus and all these other things start launching shows. Do you all have the first appearance of John Walker? If you don't, you better buy it soon. Though I'd suggest buying the first Falcon first. But anywho, yes, vintage comic market is exploding. But let me say really quick, don't buy anything you don't want to read. Don't buy comics just for the investment part. Don't buy comics because the internet tells you to buy a comic. Don't buy a comic for its resell. Buy a comic because you want to read it or because you like that character. Because yes, it can be an investment. Yes, you can intend to resell it, but stay in your lane. Don't buy what they tell you to buy. Don't buy things because they're hot or because Chuck tells you it's hot. I love Chuck. Don't get me wrong. Just saying, the reason to buy vintage comics is because you love them or because you love that character, you love that writer, you love that artist. Have a reason besides its accrual of value. Therefore, it will always be worth something to you no matter what happens in the market.
I wonder if the market's hot because there's no conventions. There haven't been in over a year. And that's usually where like we get all of our old books is at conventions. And I'm sure a lot of you guys out there that are in the market for that stuff wait for conventions to buy old books because there's a lot of e-commerce stuff on eBay, but it's a crapshoot, right? You don't know what you're going to get until you can physically, look at that thing when it comes in the mail. So, without conventions, I'm sure the online sales have ratcheted up. Plus the instability of distribution of comics over the last year has probably made put into question print comics and their tentative and tenuous future. And so that's probably added heat to that already hot marketplace.
Yep, all those factors. I think the show thing is definitely a big one. And it's fun. I like all the interest in old books because old books are great. And as we'll talk about on the show, especially with the first issues, there's 100,000 reasons to buy old comics. And very few of those reasons have anything to do with their inevitable value. It's all about just good, clean fun.
And thank you, TJM, for the comment. He or she enjoyed Greyfriars Cemetery. So yay! I'm so glad.
There you go.
You. Makes me happy.
So you can find us here every Saturday,
yes.
2:00, Facebook and YouTube. Find us online at black-cat-comics.com, black-cat-publishing.com. And again, be on the lookout for those in-store appointments because the world is coming back.
Yay! Looking forward to seeing you guys in person again.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time in a brand new show.